Yeah, nice to see you too, Barbie. How are you doing?
Doing great. I believe we are live now. Hello and good evening. How is everyone doing? I am so excited to connect with you. If you happen to be here live, please hit the like sign so we can tell everyone in the world, and then jump into the comment box and tell us where you're connecting from, because we have friends from all over. And if you happen to catch this later, just let us know that it's a replay. So just type in hashtag replay. And as always, feel free to share if you feel someone needs to hear what we've got to offer today. Please don't hesitate to share. So welcome, welcome, welcome to the Influencer Show. My name is Barbie Latavisi, and I am your family law mediator and relationship coach. And I am here with my dear friend, Andy Shepard,
Whoa!
who is also a relationship coach, a very passionate one at that, and has a lot of great insights. So both Andy and I happen to live in Southern California. He's in LA and I'm in San Diego. And we are here essentially to serve you. We've decided to collaborate to bring you value and advice on relationships that we know all too well can be a challenging time for us right now, particularly under this crazy pandemic. So Andy, I was hoping you could give us a quick overview of what you did in the past and where you are now and how amazing you are.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, quick overview. I used to be a computer engineer in the UK, too stressful, went to Brazil, fell in love with a woman in Brazil and she kind of magnetically brought me there. That didn't work, fell in love with Brazil. So I stayed there for a while and I opened an English language school. The problems with that made me start working with my mindset and everything started moving for the better. And that got me into coaching, and coaching brought me to LA, and that's why I'm here in a nutshell.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Well, I'm so glad that, we have this opportunity here live on Facebook. There's so many people out there that are in desperate need. I see this every single day, as you know. And, today we just thought we'd share ideas for making our relationship the best they can be. Would you guys like that? If you're here, give us a thumbs up to let us know. I can't see a thing. Andy, can you see anything?
I know you're live. I've looked on the wall. We're definitely live. So, yeah, I can see. So, yeah, maybe it's going to take a few minutes for people to catch on and come and
Yeah,
join us and say hi.
wake up, wake up. That's what I
Yeah,
normally
because
say.
yeah, I mean, we're going to have a party all on our own, and that's not fair. You need to join in the fun, folks. Come on. Don't be shy.
So, I got to thinking about this topic and I thought, happy couples, they're not smarter. They're, wealthier or more resilient in reality. They don't necessarily spend more time together. They're just busy doing their thing. They share more or necessarily share more interests or have a better regime for divvying their daily routines, their chores. And they don't sit around, obviously, like high school kids. They just goo goo gaga, over one another. But they're just like all of us, and they often bicker just as much as any other couple. And but there is one common thread here that I have found that keeps them from sinking into that mire of battle of discontent, if you will. And I believe truly, and you would agree with this, Andy, and that's emotional intelligence.
Mhm.
Which is a person's ability just to be able to notice, be sensitive, manage and express their emotions just in a real healthy way. And And as we know, this definitely can influence trust and communication, definitely intimacy, you know, and conflict management. So I wanted to get your feedback. What do you think about that?
Well, I'm not sure I understand the whole concept of this emotional intelligence, so I'd like you to talk more on that. But my thoughts for a successful relationship are that basically I look at everything now as an evolution. It's about the betterment of myself. So I've done a lot of meditation. I've spent many years in Buddhist communities, and done some really wonderful, very in-depth meditation and contemplation there. And I realized that everything's really about inner work. When I talked about my English language school, when it was going to a point where I was going bankrupt and I was going to lose everything, I realized it was the inner work that was going to cause me to succeed. And so to me, I look at everything in the same way. It's all about the inner work. If we want the outer world to be wonderful, our inner world must be wonderful first. And the best, a really amazing place to try this all on is in a relationship. Relationships can be so incredibly challenging. I remember I read a book called A Path with Heart, and it was all about a monk who had disrobed and become, he'd left all of that and just became a normal person, if you like. And he got into a relationship and he said, wow, I am learning more than I ever did when I was sitting in a room meditating, because I have to apply everything that I am learning to make this relationship successful. And for me to all the things that are triggering in me, I need to apply the antidotes to deal with this. And so I saw this as an amazing opportunity to grow. So you can do many things with a relationship. You can be extremely selfish and do everything for yourself. You can do everything for another person. Or for me, the most beautiful thing is when you're doing inner work, you're becoming better, your relationship's becoming better, and you're influencing the person that you love.
I think that's beautiful.
Thank
Absolutely. You
you.
know what, too? And I believe that when we are serving, when we just forget about ourselves and we're so willing to give, everything just for whatever reason just works magically. And it's very difficult. It's so easy to develop negative biases towards one another too, and tend to see the
Mhm.
faults, the glaring at us. And if we just take that positive spin as well, I think that would really, really bring things more harmonious in the environment. But I agree with you, Andy. So many of us fail to stop and self-reflect. How can we be better for our partners? And it's a really valuable lesson that I learned myself. I mean, we can be so nitpicky about the craziest things, it's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I've been married for like just over a year now, and before that, I lived with my present wife for 6 years, so we've been together for 7 years, and I've learned that basically you need to just let go of stuff and just not, you get upset about something, but it's just not worth it. Just let it go and choose your battles, if you like. There's some things that, okay, yeah, we need to talk about, but don't fight. Find a way of communicating and finding the best solution. And not all the time do I get exactly what I want. I'm working as a team. I remember on our wedding day, I forgot, but at the end of the wedding ceremony, I wanted us to put our hands on top of each other and go, Team Shepherd, because we're a team. You work as a team, or your marriage is going to work. You don't work as a team and it'll all fall to pieces. Doing everything for me, me, me. No, no, no. It's for us, us, us.
And it's really interesting too that those people that are so self-absorbed, at the end of the day, they end up being miserable. and they make
Yes.
their relationships miserable. I've been in
Hmm.
those types of relationships. But if we can just stop and feel the perspective of the other person, just try. I know it's difficult, in the heat of the moment, when things are just stop, breathe, count to 10 if you can, and then just process the whole thing. Yeah, it's so emotionally intelligent couples, they know when the other is struggling and respond in a real comforting way, a kind type of way. And it's a diplomacy. It's like what I like to call it, just being diplomatic about things, just reevaluating how you're going to approach. Sometimes you got to let them win. They're really having a bad day. So yeah, I think it's just beautiful, some of the insight that you've offered. There's so much that we can share here. Clearly, I remember when I was married. This is really a silly example, and you probably have your share, but I know this is ridiculous. But I am a lefty, so I do everything left-handed. So when you place your silverware in the silverware tray, everything seems to be a different direction. Well, if your mate is a right-handed person, they're like, what is this? And sometimes when you tie the bread as well, I know it's really ridiculous things, but, and by the way, if you guys are tuning in, let us know that you're here. Give us a thumbs up. And if you have any questions, please, please, please leave them in the comment box, and we'll be certain to respond. But we're here essentially to serve you, and we're just talking about how to make our relationships work, where it becomes just really harmonious in today's time and age, when finances are at their peak, the divorce rate. I understand that the divorce rate in the UK right now is
Wow.
way, way up. I saw this. Is it
Hmm.
ODC? What is the agency there? I saw it in a thread of email that I got, and I'm like, wow. Yeah, so there's a lot of, this pandemic has really
Yeah.
unveiled many wonderful things about ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, this has really been a melting pot for everything. It's really focused. I think it's been, for a lot of people, it's been rapid movement. So if things are supposed to happen, they'll happen quickly. If they're going to fall to pieces, they're happening really quickly. It's almost as if the world was getting very, very complacent with everything, and we had a big shake-up. So it's been very, very interesting. People who've been, for example, men who've been not wanting to get married and been kind of holding back, they got married. I've heard several people saying, you're talking about divorce. Well, this is probably on the books to happen, but there's been such a shake up. It's like, okay, this is you got no choice, you've got to do it. So it's disruptive while you're going through it, but I believe that the end results are really, really beneficial. So yes, it's been quite a time for sure.
Yeah, I was thinking about children, families who have children too. They have been forced to teach at home because of the
Mhm.
virtual education, if you will. And it's really beautiful. The positive side, because I always like to put positive spins to things, is
Mhm.
that it has united families, particularly the youth, with their parents, because they now are able to communicate, to dine together. There's not so many, I know we're going to be coming out of COVID at some point, but I think this nice pause has been really beautiful for so many reasons. And then, you have the unfortunate circumstances where you've got a husband who, or a spouse, either spouse, who goes out and works on a day-to-day basis, and now they're faced to be with their loved ones, and it just kind of causes friction. But nonetheless, there's always ways around it. And Andy is a relationship coach, and he has a podcast, and he's very gifted in this arena. And how can people get a hold of you, Andy?
Yeah, the podcast is in the works, to be honest. So that's not here now. Probably the best way to get hold of me is to I've actually got something on, if you go to andythecoach.com, it gives a video about how to find the best relationship. So, you know, it's important to know what are the good things that you're looking for, but also the deal breakers. So it goes through that process. So that's kind of a good way to get hold of me. Yeah.
I like that. I like that. Well, you know, many of you guys know who end up following me. I have my divorce book. I am expanding it. So I'm working diligently on that, but it's going to be predominantly not so much about divorce and splitting up like the first version of it was, but it's going to be about relationships and babying them, you know, just taking care of our relationships. Relationships are so important, not only in our homes, but with people who we interact, our friends, and even at work. Yeah, any great other advice you have to offer, Andy?
Yeah, I mean, I love what you said about putting yourself into the other person's shoes. I think this is absolutely essential. As a coach, that's what I'm doing all of the time. And we all have that ability to do that. And this is called compassion. This is true love when you do this. When we're taking ourselves out of ourselves and stop being, you know, selfish, as in we're only attending to our own self. If we look at other people, this is the true happiness, when we make other people happy. When we only make ourselves happy, this is a very fleeting happiness and it's empty. But when you start getting the joy out of making somebody else happy, you will find that your happiness increases multifold. It's quite incredible. And, you know, it took me a while to do this. When I was in my 20s, I was very selfish, very materialistic. But now as I get older, I truly appreciate how this is. So when we look at somebody else and we see what they're going through and we see what their world is, we try to do our best to understand them and to do what we can to make their day better, to make, you know, that moment better, or whatever they're going through. Instead of, you know, being revulsed by it, try to say, well, okay, I kind of understand why you're going through this, and, you know, lovingly see what you can do to help them. I think that's really, really awesome.
Yeah, having a genuineness for a good relationship, a deep rooted relationship, is so critical. We want to be able to share our days. At the end of the day, after we've had such a rough day, what we're there. You know, sometimes I think if we were to reflect back on where we initially started in the relationship and try to take us emotionally there and reflect on what it would be like to lose that person and have that void in our own lives, just paints a total different perspective for us. And we take relationships so for granted, so for granted. And it's really a gift. It's a beautiful thing that we can nurse into a very magical thing. I mean, we are our best friends. It's, you know, I am not married, but I certainly have my very definitive, having lived it and experienced some hardships, I certainly am really certain of what it is that I want, what it is that I seek. And, you know, I did that inner work that you were talking about just this past whole year. And the book was fabulous for me. I point back there because it's somewhere back there, but it was catharsis. You know, I was able to release some of those emotions and think about everything and just reassess what is it that we need to do as individuals to improve ourselves, to be a better version of us. So yeah, I'm really grateful for this opportunity. I hope that we're able to serve you. Andy and I will be here every Wednesday moving forward at the same time, Pacific time. So wherever you are, please let us know you're here. Give us your questions, whatever that is, and we'll just do some research and figure things out. We know that a lot of people are struggling. You know, today I put a post out there about narcissistic behavior. And it comes from both sides. We just sometimes we can be so self-absorbed and not really be sensitive to those who love us the most, who are willing to give us our all. We just need to be kind and be diplomatic the way we communicate, right, Andy?
Yeah. For sure. I mean, what you're saying about friendship is so key. To me, friendship is the most important part of a relationship. And I encourage that before even starting a relationship, because you get to know the person, you become friends, you take a lot of the pressure off. And, you can find out whether you've got a firm basis for the relationship to even start. I remember when I was much younger, I was engaged and we lived together for 4.5 years. And we were both pretty young, and long story, we weren't meant to be together. And I remember her saying to me something that really broke my heart, but in the same time made me very happy. She said, "It's absolutely terrible that we are parting, because I'm losing you. But the worst part is I'm losing my friend, my best friend as well." And that was like, and I was so grateful that she'd realized that, because that's what I brought into the relationship. I remember seeing in Brazil, you'd get this perfect man and this perfect woman together, and they were showing each other off. They didn't talk together. They just looked this beautiful man, this beautiful woman together, perfect couple. What a load of hogwash. They weren't even relating. They didn't probably didn't even like each other. What the hell's the point of that?
I know. I see, when you go to the restaurants, you could probably attest to this. One couple's looking the other way, or one's looking at their phone, and it's like, what is the point? You've got to savor the moment, because you know what? At the end of the day, let's say tomorrow you may not have that opportunity.
That's right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, okay, sometimes you can be comfortable with each other, so you don't need to talk. That's different. And you can tell, that you're just two people comfortable. But when they're just like bored out of their brains with each other, that's just so sad.
It
Life's
is.
too short for that, because you
Yes.
deserve better and your partner deserves better. You need to find a better match.
Totally, totally. I agree. We just got to have to add an empathetic heart, and really do, at the very end of the day, it's all about doing some self-reflection and doing some self-work. That's where we learn the most. Look at ourselves in the mirror, right? Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you. Gosh, it's already almost, right at 6:30. I am so, so grateful for your time to come on here. I know it goes by so quickly, doesn't it, Andy? But we are going to come back live for you next Wednesday, again at 9. And you know how
For
to find.
6. At 6.
Yes, I'm thinking Saturday. And please, just if you happen to know anyone that should be hearing our advice, please make sure to tag them on the thread of the comments, and leave us your questions, and Andy or myself will be more than pleased to answer them. So until then, I always like to say we'll see you guys on the bright side. Not dancing today, but I'm extending lots of love. And to those who have birthdays today, let me do. I haven't had an opportunity. I've been working all day, but happy birthday!
Yeah.
The bed's coming. Hey, baby. All right. We will see. Hi, Babette. Say hi to everybody. She's a big girl.
Beautiful.
So, thank you. So we'll see you guys very soon. Have a terrific evening. Everyone get a good night's rest. We'll talk to you later. Take care, Andy. We'll talk to you
Thank
soon.
you.
Good
Talk to you
evening.
soon.
Take care.
You too. Bye.
Bye.